And so that was a big event that occurred yesterday with all eyes on the proceedings there as they transpired. Well, that's what we're talking about here this morning. Niyi Akinsiju joins us today from our studios in Abuja. Morning, Mr. Akinsiju, and thank you for joining us today. Well, first and foremost, I mean, it's clear that the president did, well, now we see 24 substantive ministers, 13 ministers of state. Well, contrary to what a lot of people thought, that some of those ministers, as he had initially said, the president may not have any portfolios. Why do you think that recount happened?
Well, it's just the president had focus and had the truth of the matter is a cabinet has been formed now. We may not necessarily need to start interrogating what the president said earlier. Well, we also know that cabinet ministries are categorized into senior and junior cadre. We have substantive ministers and we have junior ministers. And for us, the coming together, the inauguration of this cabinet that actually started defining the purpose and the direction of this government. Some of us are excited that indeed the president, like he said, conducted a lot of consultation with people. And it's obvious, too, that the president had actually interacted with the ministers before they were nominated, because given the kind of portfolios assigned to them, he must have been persuaded of their track record, like he said, because he said he had a sense of history in terms of tracking the performance level of some of these ministers. So for me, I think we are good to go. The government is prepared. The president has done a lot of planning, had given purpose to this government. And I think what should excite Nigeria is that we have a template to work on.
Do you have are you satisfied with the portfolios given to the different ministers, and are you confident that they can actually deliver on the goods?
I am confident. One, I think we should always consider the power and the influence of the president in a presidential system of government. The capacity of the president determines the direction and the effectiveness of the government. So it is the character of the president that determines and decides the kind of deliverables that we expect from the cabinet. As far as I'm concerned, the president has shown character. The president has shown honesty and integrity. And the president has also shown focus. These are very important variables in the making of whatever we are expecting, from the deliverables from the cabinet. So, in fact, in terms of mergers, as people call it, mergers of some of these ministries, I think it's even actually properly defined. Because we have seen for the first time some bit of symmetry in terms of relationship between ministries that were independent before. Budget and national planning, for instance. I wouldn't know what the financial and budget ministry were doing together, before. Now we have budget and national planning together. Budget itself is planning. And there's no way you can configure your national planning without the budgetary input, which also translates or interprets your national planning ingredients for every year. While national planning could take 4 years, 5 years, you need to also translate that with how to effect it every year and also create a connection, a nexus between the budget for the year and perhaps the 4 years plan.
Well, some people have criticized that. They believe that the budget was under finance ministry for a reason. I believe it's good as well, because the finance ministry is aware of what it is that a country earns and what it is it can spend in one financial year.
Well, thankfully, we don't forget also that the president is the head of that cabinet and has access to information. And I also know that national planning also have access to financial information. And also with the TSA, as it were, government agencies would have what you call the board view access to whatever is accrued and accruable to government in terms of income and all that. But it is essential. What has been the problem, before now, has been a disconnect between our national planning, which is supposed to span a period of time, and the annual budget. And of course, that was tried to be. I mean, there was an effort to masticate that with the medium-term economic policy framework. But again, this should actually belong, in the national planning purview. So I think the connection between the budget and the national planning ministry is quite vital, and I think it's important for our momentum to development.
Are you also, I mean, you've talked about what exactly is inspiring your confidence, and you've talked about how, you think that some ministries have been properly merged. But when you look at the fact that some ministries that are considered key are, under the portfolio of one minister, do you think that that is not too much work?
It's not too much work. It's not too much work because don't forget that some of these ministries or some of these sector have been undergoing privatization, as it were. The power ministry, for instance, is not responsible for such a large, unwieldy environment as it used to be with the with the privatization and the unbundling, of the former PHCN. The truth of the matter is, we now have commissions like the Nigerian Electric Regulatory Commission that directly monitor the activities of these companies, the privatized companies. But essential to this is the Ministry of Power is now responsible for leading new thought in power generation, and leading new initiatives in power generation. Now, you are talking specifically about former Governor Babatunde Raji Fashola of Lagos State. What is essential in this is that this gentleman has a strong track record, coming from Lagos State. And he had created a template of genuineness and originality in terms of performance capability. Some of us that have stayed in Lagos have experienced and have witnessed the kind of roads he built in Lagos, complete with guiding median, and with lighting. That also upgraded, the kind of infrastructure we experienced in Lagos. And of course, he is also one governor that actually led direction in terms of building independent power plants to power most utilities and institutions in Lagos State. So, and don't forget his housing capacity. Most of Lagos now has a presence of government-built estates, and these are very modern things. So I think that individual has the capacity to carry on.
If you talk about capacity, very quickly here, don't forget that the president wasn't unmindful of what exactly is going on. He said he wouldn't want to make the mistakes of the past. When he talks about mistakes now, talking about putting the right people there, he wants to see the right people coming into the right position of things. And for Nigerians, they say we have wasted a couple of, I think, months or weeks. So hitting the ground running is what they said they were doing yesterday. What are those areas, key sectors that you would love to see changes very quickly for the people?
For me, I don't want to accept the fact that that we've wasted months. I want to assert here that it would be inappropriate for us to expect the president to have rolled out his cabinet so soon that he resumed office or assumed office. The truth of the matter is, if you have a chief executive officer's mentality, the first thing you want to do is to understudy your environment and your new office, and of course consult with people you inherited from the other administration, and from there also draw up your own profile and your brief of what the government should be. Now, what the president has done now is to hand over what he expects the ministers to go deliver in their ministries. It is not now, which will not, before it has always been the ministers being appointed, they resume in their ministries, get back to the president to brief him on what is on ground in the ministry.
Very quickly, just let me key this in. That was why, in fact, that is why I asked the question, what would be the quick wins, since we have that long period of time getting to making sure that everything works. Now that they are there, let's say the president has done all the groundworks for the ministries. What will be those things that you will see in the next few days?
Yes, I want to see efforts of improved power supply. We want to see quickly government mobilizing onto the roads